Hello, Lighthouse artists. We're going to start our Lighthouse project today. So what we're going to do is we're eventually going to make a picture that looks like this. We've got our big lighthouse, we've got our ground, our water, our sailboats, everything. So I'm going to show you today how we are going to start this project. We're going to start the project by first drawing some lines to show us where the rocks are going to be, where we're going to place our lighthouse. And we need a horizon line as well. So that's the first thing that we're going to do today. One of the next steps that we do will be to add in the horizon and add in the rocks that are our shore. So let's start with those pencil lines. Those are really important. What you want to do is use a 18 by 24 inch piece of tag board. And this is white paper, it's pretty thick, it's nice and big. And you want to find the center, and we're going to draw a line right through the center, dividing the top from the bottom. Try to go across as nice and straight as you can. All right, the next thing we're going to draw is going to be our rocks down here at the bottom. So we're going to kind of start halfway between the line we just made and the bottom of the paper. And I'm going to start with my rocks, not make them too jagged, and just kind of come down gradually to the other side of the paper, all the way down. There we go. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to start painting. We have our watercolor paints, we have our water, and because it's a little bit hard to see, I'm going to put my watercolors right here. You're going to see that in every example, this one you can see, you have the same colors kind of equidistant apart in the picture. So you're mirroring your colors. Whatever you have here, you mirror it the opposite order here. I want to make this look like a sunset. So I am going to actually move this so that I can have better access to my water. I'm going to go ahead and activate my yellow by putting some water in my yellow. I know I'm going to also want some orange. I'm going to also want some red, and personally, I'm going to want some purple too. Now, you don't have to necessarily use those colors. You can think about the color wheel and start with orange, and then go to red, and then purple, and then blue. You know, it's absolutely your choice, but think about the color wheel. Whatever order the colors are in, that is the order that we are going to use. Okay, since yellow is the lightest color, I'm going to make some yellow paint. So I put some water in my watercolor tray, load it up with some nice clean water. Here we go. Then I go to my yellow, get some of that nice paint, put that right there into that area of the tray. If you wanted to do this using just the primary colors and then blend your yellow and red together to make your orange, you could absolutely do that. You'll just end up using more of your red and orange or red and yellow paint than you might want to. So that's just something to be aware of. I just used up all the water that was in my yellow paint, so I'm putting more in there. It's going to sit in there, activate, it's going to mix with the paint, and so that'll provide me with some more paint later, because I'm pretty sure this is not going to be enough over here. I'm not even sure this is going to be dark enough. So I'll put a little bit more in there. Okay, so technique that we're using today is wet on wet. So you might have noticed that I accidentally dripped some water over here on my picture, and that is fine because we actually need the paper to be wet. Think of it like a sponge. If your paper was a dry piece or a dry sponge, then when you first add any sort of moisture to it, it sucks it right up and it keeps it right in that spot. Now, imagine if I was putting on paint right now, that paint would not spread. It would stick right where I put it on the paper, and it would not spread around because the paper was like a dry sponge and it sucked up all the color. So that wasn't gonna work. So it's good to just get some water on your paper everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So I really hope you're working somewhere where you can get some water everywhere on your picture. I'm using my biggest brush that I have. This is a number 10 brush. This is a nice big brush for a nice big piece of art. So be smart about how you choose your tools. Pick big tools for big jobs. Okay. Now, I'm probably gonna need to add more water later. I probably missed some spots, that's okay. I'm not even worried about getting water on my rock area at the bottom right here because I'm actually gonna draw over that later with oil pastel. Not today, because this is too wet, but on another day. It will be another step that we'll do. All right, that's pretty good. I bet my other colors are pretty activated now. So I'm gonna finish making my orange and my red, and then in a moment we'll come back and I will show you how to start painting. All right, everybody. So I'm adding just a little extra water to my picture because even the water I put on at the beginning is kind of soaked in, and we want to get some on top. I want to think of it like ice, and ice skaters are coming and they are going to glide right over the top of this water. So if you have it nice and wet and shiny, that means your colors can glide over, mix together, and go everywhere you want them to go. You'll have more control if they don't just sit and stick to that paper. So get some more water on there. It's okay. In this particular instance, there isn't such a thing as too much water. This paper is pretty durable. It's not going to rip like some paper. If you were doing this on construction paper, it would probably rip. Okay, so here we go. I know you can't see everything in frame, but that's okay. You're gonna get the basic idea. I'm gonna start with my yellow. So I grab some yellow and I can just go right over that horizon line. Whatever amount I put above the horizon, I'm gonna put below the horizon. There we go. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use up all of my yellow. And I know that I am gonna paint some orange on top of my yellow, so I go further up and further down than I anticipate actually having the color yellow. The only place I don't want my yellow to go, where the purple's gonna be. Because if the yellow mixes with the purple, because they're complementary colors, and that would be all three primary colors convening, you know, red and blue in the purple, and then yellow hitting it, that will make brown. So, unless I want a brown sky, I'm not gonna get my yellow anywhere near where I would have my purple. Okay, the paper is making it look kind of light, and as this dries, it'll look good. So if you feel as though like, oh, you can't really see the color that much, you can always add more color. But I'm still adding all paint, the paint that I made, that you just saw me make. Now, if you wanted to dip into the oval, you can do that and just put a couple real nice strong streaks in there, but only put them where it will just be pure yellow with no orange over it. That way you won't waste it. If it came out too dark where you made a streak, add a little bit of water and it will wash that out and dilute it. It'll be easy to move. All right, you don't need to rinse your brush. Go right to your orange. All right, let's go right to our red. You are overlapping these colors. Make sure you're going all the way to the edge of your paper. Don't leave white spots at the edge of your paper. add in our purple. If you chose to do the same colors as I did, if not, you might have done like blue as your last color. It's okay, again, to go over your rocks. Don't leave any spaces at your edges. Make sure you get to the very top, the very bottom, and all the edges on the sides. All right, and there we go. You want to set this somewhere to dry for at least 24 hours before you do your next step. I hope you had fun.